Hi, and welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm Jonathan Calixto, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up, we speak with two representatives from Bridge Builders Bronx to learn how they help support the High Bridge community. Then the executive director of INCLUDEnyc talks about their mission towards a more inclusive society. After that, the CEO of the Fresh Air Fund shares more about their free summer experiences for children from low-income communities. And finally, the director of programs at Destination Tomorrow talks about the legacy of LGBTQ+ voices in the Black Lives Matter movement. So stay tuned, all this and much more is headed your way because we're now officially open. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Calixto and today is Tuesday, March 4th. You are now watching Open, the program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. Bridge Builders Community Partnership was formed in 2003 with the mission of partnering with community residents, service providers, educators, businesses, nonprofits, government agencies, and other stakeholders to form effective community networks and services in order to strengthen and increase the well-being of families in the High Bridge community. Here to tell us more about their work is the program director Gabriela Silverio, along with Daniel Silvera, the outreach specialist for Bridge Builders Bronx. Thank you both for joining us. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm excited to obviously dig a little bit deeper into the work that you're doing. So to start off, tell me a little bit about Bridge Builders Bronx.
So Bridge Build is a small nonprofit in the beautiful High Bridge part of the Bronx, but we serve a lot of the Bronx areas regardless. We don't have constrictive areas. We have multiple programs that serve the community in different aspects. We have a large coalition of over 50 providers, so we kind of reconnect and engage not only community members but other agencies, and we are like an umbrella of referrals.
Yeah. Now we are going to dive deep into some of those programs, but talk to me a little bit about what sets obviously the organization apart from other organizations in our very own borough.
So we are not like a fancy, like a community center with a swimming pool or basketball gym or multiple classrooms, but we are a simple resource center. Not only provide different social services, but we connect and refer. We also do like workshops.
Yeah, which is obviously something we are going to talk about a little bit more. There's also, but I want to get into the core values that drive your work as well, because I feel like that sets the foundation for a lot of the programs that you do and how you help families. Can you share a little bit about those core values?
Yeah. So one of the things is transparency. So we have everything that's done and it's created, especially for the programs, are created with the community. So we have like I will say, like a community members legislative or executive committee that kind of appoints what programs, how we design the events. They have a say on everything that's done. They also participate on our board. Our board of directors also mainly have stakeholders, but also have community members. We are very grassroots essence. So we are not, as Daniel mentioned earlier, we are not fancy. We are very grassroots. And yes, we have a financial management company that oversees certain things, but we are basically the community for the community, which means all our staff, it's from the community or was born and raised in the community or have some sort of touch. Other things are we are credible messengers, so either majority of us has been into the mental health system, juvenile justice system, ACS, child welfare, so everyone have been touched by one of the systems. So they preach about and kind of guide other families going through similar situations. So we are a live, walk experience. So we don't tell you, oh, walk this way because we don't know or we just learn it from a book. No, we have walked the walk with the community or with our family members.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think back to Daniel, what he said, right? It's not fancy, it's simple, but it is a resource for the community. And it is obviously special that it is from people who have lived there, are living there. With that as well, one of the programs that you do offer is the child care vouchers for families in need. Talk to me about that program and how it works.
So we have a kind of a partnership with ACS. And yet they are the one that offers the voucher, but we are kind of the navigator through the child voucher. If you're aware, New York City provides, and at this point you could pay on, instead of paying $350 or $450 a week, you could pay maybe $1, $5, $15, or $20 if you are under certain poverty brackets or your income guidelines. But the system, even though ACS and the government have made it very nice, and now it's electronically. It's a lot of barriers to complete the process. So we help families navigate that process from the start of the application all the way to the end. And then on the coming years, when the recertification comes, we also assist them. Also connect them with openings of different daycares. If daycares have opening or informal providers that, in our communities, we still use family members. So a family member can actually get paid for taking care of that child. So, but the process is a little bit more complex. And a lot of the payment process fall through the cracks. So we navigate that process and assist the family until the payment is done.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about providing this service as well, is it for people just in the Highbridge community then, or does it kind of expand to helping them find those daycares and stuff outside of the community, just in the borough? How does that kind of work?
We have no limits. So we have families that live in the Bronx and want the child care close to where they worked or where the other family member or the absent parent sometimes live, so because they have arrangement for pickup or drop off. So we have no limits. And the same thing if people need assistance. We have done it virtual via FaceTime because family works, especially if you're a working family and you need childcare, you don't gonna go into an office between 9 and 5. So we have non-traditional hours as well, by appointments, and we open Saturdays from 10 to 4.
Wow, that's an incredible resource
So
of time.
we're trying to be like ball wide.
Yeah, and talk to me, obviously, as an outreach specialist, Daniel, how do you see the need of something like this for the community? Why are they asking for this? Why do they need it, especially during this time?
So while I'm in that community, I bring so much holistic services, right? And I'm also helping listen to people's needs, not just what we cover, but what they're struggling. Because sometimes they feel like the government or all the organization let them down. And also when I'm on talk about collaboration and networking. So while I'm part of which I'm the president of Multicultural Advisory Board on the Councilwoman Fee Stevens, was a volunteer position, and I also attend the Guns Not Life Up Circle of Safety, was also volunteer, based on what the residents say. I'm able to speak to make a difference.
Right, and I love that you mentioned that part too about listening to the community, what they need are. There's another program that I want to focus on, and it's the kinship program, which does play an important role in supporting a lot of families. Talk to me about how you guys are doing that as well.
So our kinship program is funded by the Office and Family and Children Services. So a lot of people in our community say, well, kinship, what is it? So it's when you are a caretaker for someone that is not your biological child. So a lot of our families are either families that have lost their parents, either to domestic violence or incarceration or removal. And now, in the recent, well, we had a lot during COVID, but now we have seen a lot of brothers, sisters taking care of their siblings, younger siblings, and taking custody or temporary custody due to the recent immigration wave. So what our program offers is case management, connection to legal assistance. We also offer resources for them, like if they are in need of food, so they can feed from our biweekly food pantry.
Wow.
If the child got removed, for example, as you know, sometimes unfortunate circumstances happen, and a DV case happen, and children get dropped off at grandma's house, and grandma was not equipped with clothing, beds, things like that. So we try through donations or community contributions to support what the family need at the moment, but also help them navigate the legal documents, because when you are in a crisis, sometimes it's very difficult to navigate the different systems and obtain the different benefits. So those are things that we do support for kinship families. We are here, and now we are even expanding to let even regular people, like you work, I work, we never talk about our family members of what if tomorrow, or I live to work and never come back. What happened? So we are educating our community members to be like, what's the plan B? Who will be the caretaker? And how we talk to our children on what the next plan.
Yeah.
Because it's things that we are like, oh, it's never gonna happen. We are eternal. We never want to have those conversations with our family members, especially with children. But
so
we
many
are
resources.
in where we have to, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you're mentioning, obviously, so many ways that you work with them. Something that did stand out to me in the website when you were talking about the kinship program is that it also advises sitting agencies on the implementation of child and family well-being procedures and policies. Daniel, how important is it to have this direct line of communication with city agencies to say, this is what our community needs, this is maybe what they don't need? How important is that?
As I was saying, like, you know, the listening part. Because what? Okay, so I've reached specialists, right? I do tabling, not just community, events like health fairs, but also at faith-based organizations. Also, what I do? Areas. Sometimes I'm at some events where I'm the only organization there, which is also good because people be like, oh, okay, we do have somebody who do care.
Yeah.
And then partnering with governmental, it bringing everybody together or organization, because sometimes people don't, like other organizations do not know that, oh, we all do the same thing.
Right, yeah.
So we have to come together.
Yeah, and obviously you are doing that through this program. As you look ahead, Gabriela, what does the future of the program look like?
So we want so many things, as an organization, we have big wishes. But currently our on-the-go map, we are working on a minivan that will go throughout the Bronx. It will be called Bridge Builders Mobile.
Okay.
Or Bridge Builders on the Go. And the goal is to bring all the coalitions and all the partners to offer services in pockets of the community where we are not present, but also where it's difficult for certain population to come out. We have people that don't live, sometimes they're blocked in their area for X and Y reason, but we have tons of partners that are offering amazing service that we don't want to duplicate. We want them to come with us in the van and bring it to them. So that's basically our concentration at the moment.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, I know we will definitely stay tuned, and we can talk so much more about the different programs, but that mobile unit, we'll definitely stay tuned to that and continue to follow along. Thank you so much, Daniel, Gabriela. It was a pleasure, okay?
Thank you for the time.
Yeah. To learn more about their services, please visit their website at bridgebuildersbronx.org. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Open after this.
start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at BronxNet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at BronxNet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit BronxNet.org/education and become a producer by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
Welcome back. We would like to take this time to look back at an interview that took place on December 31st of last year with former host Kibin Aline, who sat down with Cheryelle Cruickshank, the executive director of INCLUDEnyc, who spoke about their mission to foster a more inclusive society for those with disabilities. Let's take a look.
I gave a little bit of an overview about INCLUDEnyc's mission, but can you tell us a little bit more about what really drives that mission?
Sure. So what really drove all of this was 41 years ago. 3 moms that had children with disabilities, they really struggled to find services, to understand what programs were out there, to even find resources like recreation. And they wanted to be able to help other families not struggle the way they did. So they started the organization, and it was called Resources for Children with Special Needs. And 41 years later, we have the same mission. We want to make sure that we can provide resources, information, supports, and services to children and youths with any disability, whether it's known or suspected. We want to support their families so that they have the information they need to make the best decisions for them regarding the services that they need, as well as so that they can develop their own advocacy bone and they can support other families in advocating for themselves.
Now, you mentioned it's been 41 years, so with that, I know that society's views on children with disabilities has evolved and changed. How has your organization evolved to kind of meet the needs of families that have children with disabilities?
So we really focus on what do our families call us for? What do they need? And based on that, for example, when COVID came, it was more important to talk about what was happening in schools for children during COVID, how children are learning, what was available to them, just how to help your children while you're home with your child. So we really pivot to what is necessary and what's being asked for at the time. So we continue to grow in that way. So we've evolved in really looking at employment and post-secondary, what's next in life for youths with disabilities. So it's all about really giving people what they need.
Now, as mentioned, there's a focus on children and young people with disabilities. What are some of the challenges that families face, or particularly the people that have the disability themselves? What are some of the challenges they face?
Access to services is always a difficult situation. Equity, being provided with the same opportunities as everyone else. Just navigating through a complicated special education system, understanding what services are available, what you can do, what are your rights. So there are many different obstacles, and as children grow and they transition, supporting them in that transition so that it's smooth, so that they know what to expect, and just really feeling like they belong and building community.
Now, I noticed on your website you mentioned that your team uses person first and identity first language. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that means?
Sure. So we are people before we are anything else. Their disability does not define them. It's just an aspect of them. So that's why we say people with disabilities, a youth that is living with autism, a person that is blind, as opposed to a blind person, an autistic child, or disabled person. But it's really important to also understand that people identify in different ways. So you have to ask the question and say, how do you want to be identified, so that we're respecting that as we go along.
And kind of expanding on that, how does that help with addressing, some of the stigma that is associated with people who have disabilities and their limitations or their abilities that they can't actually master? What are some of the ways that, we kind of contribute to that stigma, and what can we do to step away from that?
So calling a disabled person, that's how we add to the stigma. See the person as a person and what they bring to the table, and that disability also brings other abilities. So we want to try to let people just think about people first. That's the most important thing. Whatever you need, we all need something to support us to be successful, right? Whether you have a disability or not. So it's really about, what does this person need to be most successful? And focus on that, and less about what the disability is or what other challenges they may be experiencing. And that will help people to think about affording access and just respecting people for who they are.
Now, I want to talk about INCLUDEnyc's biggest event that's coming up February 1st, and that's the INCLUDEnyc Fair. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So we are super excited because after 5 years of being virtual, this is the first time that we will be in person at the Shed, which is in Manhattan, Hudson Yards. And this is typically our biggest event. This is the epitome of our mission, providing resources and information. We have over 60 vendors that have already signed up to be there to showcase what they can provide for families. We have over 200 households that have already signed up to come to be able to meet with vendors, and we're looking for more. In the past, we've had over 1,000 people walk through the doors in that one day. It's from 10 to 3. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody. We are really excited to be in person after all this time.
And I could sense that the excitement that you have. Can you explain what it feels like to kind of see, the event kind of have an impact on the families that attend?
So it really means so much to us to continue to really live out our mission in a day-to-day, in a way that you can touch and feel, and giving people the opportunity to talk with each other, to come together, be in community. It's a place where no one's staring if your child is making noise, because everyone is used to that in their lives. So it's really about building a place where families can feel comfortable to come and get what they need.
Now, I also want to highlight something that I think is very important, and that it's that you offer helplines in both English and Spanish. Can you talk about, the importance of accessibility, especially when we're talking about different backgrounds, cultures, and languages?
Yes, so we support the 5 boroughs of New York City. So there are multiple languages, and the ability to be able to have staff that speak both English and Spanish, and we have a language access interpretation line. So you can call us in any language and ask us any question, and we are able to communicate with you and share the resources that we have. And that, you don't get better than that kind of access, right? And the ability to reach us at any time, whether that's during the time when there's someone live to answer the phone, leaving us a message, going to our website and filling out a form, or going to any of our social media and reaching out. So
now, if you have the number, can you just let everybody know where they can go to call?
Sure. So they can call 212-677-4660. That's our English line. And our Spanish line is 4668. But you can call us, and if you're speaking in an alternate language, we will get the language interpretation access and connect with you as we would with anyone else.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, because we think that's so important. As we know, New York is beautifully diverse, and in order to kind of help everyone, you kind of have to meet people where they're at. So I think that's so amazing. And then with that, can you explain, just having that available, how has it helped, people who have family members that have disabilities?
So families are able to call and feel comfortable with our staff who are educators, and many of them have children with disabilities themselves, or at a disability themselves. So having that lived experience and the empathy that's given, it really creates an atmosphere of comfort where people can share what they need, and our educators, they find whatever is necessary, whatever resources are needed. If we don't have it right in our wheelhouse, we look for it and we get back to people.
Now, I also want to mention that not only are you empowering the children or the young person, but you're also, empowering the adult caregivers. Why is it so important that we also look at the caregivers in this situation?
Parenting is a difficult job, and parenting with a child with a disability brings additional challenges. So it's important to make sure that the parent is supported, that they have somewhere where they can go, build community, feel like people understand what they're going through. We have parent support groups. We have a podcast that's called Disability Inc., and we've done 3 episodes on seizing joy and building community. So building up families so that they can best support their children, it's so important for everyone to feel like they belong somewhere.
And then I want to talk about the podcast. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I had the opportunity to interview 2 moms, one that started her own nonprofit, another mom who worked for over 25 years and is now retired, and also for an organization that provides support for families. And what they all had in common is how do they seize moments of joy in the midst of difficult situations. So I had great conversations that really left you feeling warm and fuzzy at the end, but really gave families thoughts around some concrete ways on that they can find joy, feeling good about taking time for yourself, not feeling guilty about wanting to do something other than care for your child. So it's been a great experience, and you could see it on wherever you watch your podcast, and we also have a YouTube page that it's posted on.
Oh, that's amazing. And I love that you're able to kind of create a community for people, because I do think that although sometimes people may have the best intentions, if you don't have that experience, you may not know how to help. With that, with people who do want to help or be supportive, what are some things that they can do?
So you can always volunteer at, for example, at our fair. We're always looking for volunteers to assist. You can give financially. We are a nonprofit organization, and funding is an ongoing struggle. So always giving helps us to expand our reach, helps us to reach more families, more communities, especially at historically marginalized and underserved communities. So giving is a way that you can help. If you want to offer a space to have an event, we have parent support groups. There are so many ways that you can give. Just contact us, and we'd be happy to discuss opportunities for giving.
Well, that's amazing. And, with that, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I think it's important to continuously educate people about the different communities in our city, and what are some of the things that they need to ensure that they feel like this city is theirs, and that they're supported. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I appreciate you taking the time to visit us here at BronxNet to discuss, what you're doing to support these communities. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
To learn more about their programs and the services they offer, please go to their website at INCLUDEnyc.org.
We'd like to take the time to thank the team at INCLUDEnyc for helping inform our viewers about their services. Stay tuned, we have more open for you right after this.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with BronxNet Community Media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At BronxNet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated BronxNet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with BronxNet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome back. The Fresh Air Fund is a nonprofit organization that has been serving children from New York City since 1877. Its mission is to provide free summer experiences for children from low-income communities. Joining us in studio to share more about their services is CEO of the Fresh Air Fund, Lisa Gitelson. Thank you for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, now, of course, incredible work that you're doing, so we are going to dive deep into it. But start off by telling me a little bit about the Fresh Air Fund and its mission.
Sure. The Fresh Air Fund has been in existence for just short of 150 years. We serve the youth of New York City that wouldn't otherwise have access to the outdoors. We have summertime programs. We have 6 sleepaway summer camps. And additionally, we have year-round programming that supports the youth we serve. And all of our programs and services are without fee to the families that we serve.
Wow, and of course, as a program that has been around since 1877, providing these adventures to children, talk to me about the importance and the need for something like this more than ever, you'd say.
Sure. So the Fresh Air Fund deeply believes in the social emotional learning of the youth that we serve. And we believe that this kind of learning can happen best in the outdoors. So we provide outdoor activities that we think the youth that we serve wouldn't necessarily have access to otherwise. So both outdoors away from New York City and outdoors in New York City.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about these programs, like you mentioned, some of the camps even, how do they help bridge this kind of gap socially and economically for families?
Sure. So there's a tremendous amount of literature that shows us that time in the outdoors is time that is good for our independence, for our growth, for new experiences, and for our mental health. And I think for a lot of us that lived through COVID in the city, we know how important it was to have time and access to the outdoors. So the Fresh Air Fund does do that. We give kids the opportunity and time to learn more about themselves, to become more independent, to create new relationships, and to try brand new things that they might not otherwise do.
Yeah, now when you mention even those opportunities, something that I was reading about that stood out to me, especially in our very own borough, there is a Camp Junior, which honors obviously a 15-year-old victim who was a victim of gang violence here. Talk to me about having something like this in our community to support the youth here.
Sure. We're super proud. The Fresh Air Fund is super proud of Camp Junior. Camp Junior is in Harriman State Park, so most people know Bear Mountain. It's right by the Bear Mountain State Park. It's a sleepaway camp specifically that only serves youth from the Bronx. It was founded in honor and in memory of Junior, and all of the youth who come there are from the Bronx. We strive to have all of the staff there to be from the Bronx. The director of that camp is a proud member of the Bronx community, and we create community from the Bronx in upstate-ish New York, and have the opportunity for the youth of the Bronx to experience the outdoors and time away.
Yeah, to have something so special and honor someone obviously from our borough as well, what are some of the things that if parents are watching or even students are like, wow, I would want to be a part of Camp Junior, what can they expect to experience during that time there?
So some of the favorite activities at Camp Junior are swimming. Every kid who comes to camp is going to take a swim test on their first day. And most kids, if they know to swim, will advance in their swimming. If they don't know how to swim, they will swim by the end of their time at Camp Junior. There's boating, there's sports, there's chess, there's arts and crafts, there is all kinds of general, just the kinds of camp activities you expect. There's learning about nature. One of the things that our kids really love that not everybody knows about is a game called Gaga. Gaga is a game that's kind of like volleyball, but in a court and on the ground. And the kids literally, like, I see kids wake up in the morning and go straight to the Gaga pit because they can't wait to start playing.
And about how long does that camp in itself run for families?
So the camp sessions are about 2.5 weeks. If for the counselors, and we still have openings also for counselors, they will work for the whole summer.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Now, something else, another initiative that stood out to me is this enrichment and leadership programs. How are you working with students to provide these programs and opportunities for them?
So we have a few different ways that we do that. One of them is the Fresh Air Fund has counselor and training programs and leadership and training programs. It's very important to the Fresh Air Fund that the youth that come to us as campers become our counselors and our leaders. So in the summer for youth that are 15 and older, they will participate in a leadership program to really get themselves ready to either become leaders at the Fresh Air Fund or somewhere else in their employment world. We also have a lot of college support. We have tutoring and mentoring that happens over the school year as well.
Yeah, now, of course, as a program that has been around since 1877, you were mentioning to me too, you've been a part of the program for the last almost 3 years. To see the impact of these programs on children, how has that felt like for you, or any testimonials or any kind of stories that you have seen through and go through these programs?
Sure. The Fresh Air Fund knows that the work we do has impact. We collect data regularly, both from the youth who come to our programs to the parents whose youth come to our programs. We know that kids leave camp and the experiences of camp feeling more independent, feeling ready to take on new challenges, feeling more ready to make new relationships. And we know those are the things that make communities strong and make each of us strong. So youth leave camping with a better understanding of who they are and all of their capacities. And that's just kind of what everybody wants. We all want to see everything that we can possibly do. And I truly believe the work of the Fresh Air Fund yields that kind of knowledge.
Yeah, now of course we've talked all things camp, but there's also another thing that stood out to me is the SHARP reservation. How does that work with students, families? Talk to me a little bit about that.
So SHARP Reservation is in Fishkill, New York. It's a little bit smaller than 2,000 acres. And at the SHARP Reservation, we have 5 additional sleepaway camps. Those camps are open to kids from all of New York City, and also we hire counselors from all of New York City for those camps. So we do prioritize Camp Junior for youth of the Bronx, but anybody can go to any of the other 5 camps that are at the SHARP Reservation.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about different programs. Any other programs that obviously you are kind of hoping our viewers will know more about, especially during this time?
Right. So I would say specifically Camp Junior has year-round programming that includes a running club, that includes weekends that you go back to camp and have reunions and all different kinds of learning skills. Overall, we also have our College Connections program, which helps youth get ready for college. And we do have the mentoring and tutoring as well that youth from any borough can participate in year-round.
Yeah. Now, of course, there is this side of promoting something for the youth, for them to sign up. If there are maybe teenagers or adults who want to be part of these mentorship programs, or even maybe camp counselors as well, is that something that is open to them?
Absolutely. We have openings all the time for volunteers who want to be part of the work. And right now we have openings for counselors for all 6 of our sleepaway camps. And I encourage anyone who's interested to go to the website where you can find all of these opportunities.
Yeah, now of course for families who may be watching and are kind of leaning to like, yes, I want to sign up, what else would you tell them about what their kids might get out of this program?
Sure. I would also just say that I know for a lot of our families and our youth, the idea of sleepaway camp is not something maybe that they've considered before and might seem overwhelming or a little bit scary to trust us with your youth. I would encourage any family who's interested, any youth who's interested. We have a lot of open houses where people can hear more and they can learn more and talk to families who've already done the programs so they can learn about it. Our website also contains a tremendous amount of information, but I really can assure people that first, of course, our goal of the summer is safety. The second goal is joy. And we really create joy. And while we talk a lot about learning and what kids will get from the summer, it's all wrapped up in joy and fun. So it's different than being in school, but it's about learning who you are in a joyful, fun way throughout the summer.
Yeah, and I asked that too because I have a younger brother, and we both grew up, born and raised in the Bronx, and camp was not a thing that I ever did. And the minute that he got a camp opportunity, my parents were very cautious, sending him away. Just something we didn't get to do all the time, or in my case ever. But when he came back, I saw a change, and I saw how that program kind of helped them. For students maybe who are thinking of signing up, these kids as well, what would you tell them about what the experience might bring them and kind of maybe even open them up a little bit more to something different?
Sure. I would say one of the things that I always love is when kids leave for camp, it all takes place in one location and they get onto the bus. And I often see kids and they're, nervous. And one of the things I know I've said with the youth is like, see this big group of kids around you? When you come back at the end of the summer, these are going to be your friends. These are going to be part of your community. And you're going to be able to take the train to visit them. And New York City is going to feel more of your home because you're going to know more kids from all over the city. And you're just going to have fun and find all about who you are.
Yeah. Now, of course, as the world changes, even climate in itself, how is the Fresh Air Fund even adapting to maybe some new obstacles, challenges that might come up?
So certainly, we have been thinking a lot about climate change. The summers are hotter than they used to be. About we have more space that's outdoors, how we have more space that's indoors, that's with air conditioning, and we are taking steps to make sure that as the world evolves in that manner, we keeping up with it.
Yeah. Now, of course, I mentioned earlier too, Lisa, you have joined now Fresh Air Fund for almost 3 years as well. What has that time been like for you in this program and to see it kind of continue to grow and be of interest to the community?
That's a great question. So my whole career has been in child welfare and youth development. Without question, being able to have the impact at the Fresh Air Fund has been the best experience for me professionally. The staff who work at the Fresh Air Fund are like staff nowhere else. Everybody comes into the office and during the summer months to do this work. Everybody believes in it. Everybody wants to make it the best it can. Everybody believes deeply in the community we serve. And one of the things I say every day when I come to work myself is, what am I doing today that's going to serve our community? And that's what I ask of our staff every day too. And they ask it of themselves. What are we doing today that best serves our community? So that's what the Fresh Air Fund is about.
Yeah, I love that, and I think it obviously speaks to what you're doing and the legacy that continues to be created by the Fresh Air Fund. Obviously, we've shared so many resources, so many information about the organization. For our viewers watching, what is one thing you might want them to definitely stick with them after watching more and hearing more about the program?
Sure. So time is a little bit of the essence. I encourage people to learn about the programs if they have more questions by going to our website or by attending one of our informational sessions, and also by going to the website to put in the application. We will not be able to serve every single youth in the Bronx, and we want to serve as many youth as we can. So applying now is the best way to make sure we'll be able to serve your youth. And the Fresh Air Fund has a team ready to support the application process. So if people go to the website, they will find that they'll be connected to our staff who will help them complete the application.
That is incredible. Well, again, thank you, Lisa, so much for just sharing a wealth of information for us to obviously hear and for our viewers to hopefully take advantage of as well. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, if you are interested in learning more about these free summer experiences, please visit their website at freshair.org. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Open after this.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city, and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak, and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
Welcome back. Destination Tomorrow is a grassroots agency and the LGBTQ+ center of the Bronx borough. It is their belief that no individual should have to leave his, her, or their neighborhood to access LGBTQ+ specific services. Here to speak more and tell us about how they're celebrating Black voices in the LGBTQ+ civil rights movement is the Director of Programs at Destination Tomorrow, Star Woods. Star, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, now I've seen Destination out on the field all the time when I'm covering some of our events happening in our very own borough. But for our viewers, I know it's been a while since we've had a member of the team be back in studio with us. So tell us a little bit more about Destination Tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. So as you said, Destination Tomorrow is a grassroots organization, but actually we're growing so rapidly to the point where we're being known in other states. We're actually in Atlanta and we're in DC now. Our DC location is brand new. And yeah, we offer resources, programs, one-on-one services to our LGBTQ+ community members, having a high emphasis and focus on our Black TG&C, so trans and non-binary folks, making sure that we prioritize them. But of course, we service everybody and all our allies alike. So yeah, we have our one-on-one services, we have our programs, we have our wellness groups, and we love, love, love to throw a ball or a fair.
Yes, well, we love both.
Yes.
With that as well, since its founding in 2009, you mentioned a little bit about how it's expanded to so many different states at that. Yeah. Talk to me about the need and importance of having something like this, especially now.
So I would say the need is ever more urgent than ever, right? We're running into the need of our trans, non-binary, and overall community members not having the resources that they need, or even the advocacy or the community, the support that they need in their very own neighborhoods, amongst their own, in their own educational institutions, in their professional spaces, or even when it comes to just having a family atmosphere. So we're really, really, really trying to make sure that we're up in the forefront, making sure that we're offering these services during these really, really intense times, to ensure that people know that no matter what, we're gonna stand tall, we're gonna stand there for them, and we're gonna make sure that we're there to offer them resources, support, or even a lending ear or shoulder.
Yeah. When you talk about these resources and even programs as well, talk to me about some of them that obviously impact some of our communities right now that are being targeted, which is our trans and also our Black trans community and non-binary gender community as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say our brand new wellness group that we have, which is our Wellness on the Ave group, it is almost like a support group that we have for our trans and non-binary folks to be able to come, be amongst community, have a safe space to talk and actually sit amongst each other and voice their issues, concerns, and feel accepted in that space. We have our brand new, which is actually set to start March 10th. It is going to be our LGBTQ+ after school program. We're trying to make sure that we, of course, allies involved, but we're trying to really make sure that we have that safe space for our youth, because we're tending to find out that our youth don't have that safe space in their neighborhoods, which is in the South Bronx where we're located in primarily, and we want to make sure that we're able to reach them where they're at, whether they come from their schools or we pick them up directly from their schools, middle schools and high schools involved. And definitely when it comes to our professional development courses, we have the GPS workshop that we offer to our community members that are in correctional facilities, that are in educational institutions, and that just show up at our front office door. We're trying to make sure that we're offering employment opportunities to people that may identify as trans, non-binary, they, them, his, her, but they're not feeling comfortable in professional spaces to advocate for themselves, or they don't have the skills in order to actually be able to land these positions. So being able to offer all those opportunities on a social sphere, when it comes to recreational activities, when it comes to community, and even when it comes to professional development.
Yeah, now out of the list of programs that you even mentioned now and some of the ways that you are working with our community, the after school program was something that I did see on Instagram and that stood out to me as well. One, now you mentioned even creating that safe space, something that I feel like a lot of Bronxites who were a part of the community maybe didn't have growing up, right? Talk to me about the importance of having something like this, especially for our youth, not just a part of the community, but also our allies in a sense, and to start these conversations about safe spaces, gender, all that at this very young age as well.
Yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, just starting off with the fact of like normalizing how it is to just show up any way that you are, but making sure that there's respect being given at the front door with everybody that you engage with, and making sure that our youth know that, because it's often dismissed and not really too much focused on the fact that youth are actually the most vulnerable when it comes to these spaces, and them still finding themselves out, them still trying to figure out how they want to identify in this world, and letting them know that it is okay to be able to show up authentically as your full self, and you're also going to get the support. You're also going to get the navigational tools, interpersonal skills, homework help, assistance, even navigation when it comes to different extracurricular activities that may not be popular within the mainstream scenes, such as ballroom culture, such as things revolving around even being able to show up as your drag self or as your present self in everyday timing. But it's really important for us to have those services for our youth, because often more than not, we are noticing that those services or even those type of programming, such as the after-school programming that we're launching, is not offered in the schools that they go to or in community centers that they go to. So really trying to niche down and make sure that they know that there is a place for them, and really emphasizing the fact that safe spaces actually build up character and build up their confidence to go out there and advocate for their next of kin or advocate for a friend or family member that may be going through the same thing. So
yeah, and when you talk about that representation and even just having, a way for them to feel more confident in who they are, I mean, we're in a time right now where even the Trump administration, it has made it very clear where they stand on LGBTQ plus issues, rights, even at that. With the work that you do, how have you seen kind of what is unfolding day to day impact our Black LGBTQ plus community and our community of color within the queer community?
For sure. So it's been a radical change. We were going very, very far left, and now we're going very, very far right. And the stigma, we thought we were reducing it, but actually we're increasing it right now. And unfortunately, a lot of our community members, clients, partners alike are actually, they have been scared. They've been scared to show up authentically as their full selves, leave their house, actually get to whatever services or whatever occupation, school. Leaving their house in general is really difficult. So what we've been trying to do to combat that is actually let them know that we are going to meet them exactly where they are at. So whether that means that we take online appointments, whether that means that we actually drop off any resources to their front door, telemedicine visits, calling them and having peer-on-peer counseling with them, trying to really make sure that they know that we are advocating for them still, nonetheless. And we don't care if companies are deciding not to, companies, organizations, current administrations that are in office, we don't care if they don't want to rainbow wash anymore, because we're going to hold our rainbows flags up high, and we're going to let them know that we're still here to advocate for them nonetheless, no matter the administration.
Yeah.
So.
Now, of course, with that work that you're saying, even working with the community, how does Destination Tomorrow and even yourself stay focused on that goal of providing this advocacy and and being a resources continuously for the community, even in our political climate where it can get a little bit overwhelming?
Yeah, for sure. So how we combat burnout is through honestly checking on each other as a team and making sure that we support each other emotionally, socially, spiritually at that, and really, really, really trying to emphasize the fact that we are the shoulders that they actually stand upon, so that way we can actually uplift them. So we try to honestly ensure that we know that, of course, there's so much work that we have done within the last 14 years that Destination Tomorrow has been open, but there's so much more work that needs to be done, and our team does a really, really great job at being passionate and staying tunnel vision and making sure that they know that the work is always going to need to be achieved, and we're not going to stop at, advocating or being able to offer resources to our clients. So yeah, staying tunnel vision for the most part.
With that work being something that is obviously still a focus, still continuing to do, how important are partnerships, organizations, other collaborations in a sense, to continue running and helping Destination Tomorrow with its mission, especially during this time?
That's a great question. So honestly, it takes a village, and it's funny because we had our very first health conference last week, and I was actually thanking all of our community partners for honestly still sticking by us, the large ones, the small ones, the grassroots ones, and really making sure that they are able to honestly still provide services to our clients, even with the public fundings or federal fundings being cut, even with programs being cut, them saying, you know what, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to still continue to show up for you and yours, because at the end of the day, these are still human beings that need services, and it is a human right in order to be able to have access to healthcare, to have access to gender affirming services, to have access to education, employment, and so on and so forth. So our community partners have honestly been standing 10 toes down for us, and we're very, very appreciative of it.
Wow. Now, of course, as our viewers are watching, if we have viewers who want to take advantage of resources, programs that are available to them, but also on the partner side, if people want to collaborate even with Destination Tomorrow, what would you let them know? How can they go about doing that?
So they can definitely just go to our website and reach out our info at destinationtomorrow.org. They can go to our Instagram, our Facebook, our any of our social media sites that we have, and they can DM us and they can ask to be involved, whether they want to volunteer, whether they want to intern, or whether they honestly just want to donate and be a part of our cause and our mission. They're more than welcome to do so. The way that we even screen through and get through all of the inquiries that we have is actually really fast and quick, and individuals are able to get connected with us in our services or be able to be a part of our mission.
Yeah, now of course we have some staple holidays coming up that we should be celebrating. Later this month, March 31st, marks International Transgender Day of Visibility. Why is it important to continue to celebrate this every year, and especially this year, you'd say?
I would say this year it is a radical sense of love to be able to celebrate that, right? Be able to actually show up for our trans, black and brown brothers and sisters and let them know that no matter what, even though they're not being seen in the political scene, or they're not being seen as far as when it comes to policy and new changes, they are still being seen in their communities, they're still being honored in their communities, and they're still being supported in their communities. So we're actually going to go really, really hard for our trans Day of Remembrance, and we're going to make sure that we are loud and proud, and we are able to really level up rather the advocacy work that we are continuing to do, and we're gonna see and so forth still keep doing.
Yeah. Now we also have so many icons in the community as well, like a Marsha P. Johnson, Audre Lorde, who contributed so much to LGBTQ plus movement. And in some way, obviously with the Trump administration, that history is trying to be erased or put aside a little bit. Talk to me about the importance of recognizing and honoring those icons who have paved the way for the community.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of our community partners that are, like, for instance, our Marsha P. Johnson housing units that we have for the youth, those are the people that we try to make sure that we stay heavily in affiliation with. But honestly, those people laid down the foundation for us to be able to keep building upon, or laid down the pavement in order for us to keep running across. So we like to make sure that we honor them by making sure that there's representation throughout all of our main office locations, making sure that we have events in honor of their name, and then also making sure that whenever we are advocating in political spaces or even in informal spaces, we keep their names in our what's the word I would like to say, in our any type of new additions that we add to our program developments or our events and stuff like that, because we want to make sure that we are not reinventing the wheel, because they reinvented the wheel for us. We're just adding to it, so that way we're continuing the work that needs to continue to be done.
Definitely, and evolving that work, especially through the work that you're doing, Destination Tomorrow is doing. I mentioned to you, we have seen it out in the field through events as well, but it's so great to have you back in studio now with us to share more of the work. So thank you so much, Star.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Now with that, to learn more about the programs they offer, please visit their website at destinationtomorrow.org. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us, and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you've missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 8 p.m. tonight on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios 33, or watch anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Jaime on Wednesday and with Rina Valentin on Friday. I'm Jonathan Calixto. Stay informed, stay inspired, and stay safe. Until next time.